There we go. Okay, so first off, I want to thank everyone for being here. And I want to start by saying, and I've talked about AI and AI. This webinar really isn't about AI. AI just happens to kind of be the tool that we're going to talk about. Really, this is about open houses and why, for most realtors, a lot of open houses can quietly underperform. And if you've ever hosted an open house that felt successful, good traffic, good conversation, but days later you can realize that maybe the follow-up that you had or were hoping for just wasn't as good. And so that experience is exactly why this webinar exists and kind of what we want to cover today. And this slide kind of sometimes it gets a laugh or a head nod because this is how open houses have worked since like 19, I don't know, 75. You print flyers, sometimes the night before, you put out a clipboard with a sign-in sheet. You politely ask people to sign in as they walk through, and some people do, some people don't. Some write in an email address that they never check. I know my Yahoo email address I created in seventh grade, that's like the one that I give out willingly. But overall, like when it's all over, you're left hoping that someone's going to follow up with you, hoping that their handwriting is legible on their contact information, and hoping that this open house turned into something that you didn't just waste your weekend. And this approach honestly has worked for decades, but it has some limitations. It's hard to promote this online sometimes. It's easy to lose track of people after the event. And I guess the goal here isn't to replace open houses at all. Sorry, I raised my hand. I gave a thumbs up, so this is going off. But just to modernize how you're promoting them and how leads are captured in your open houses. And so one important mind shift, I guess I want to look is like before we look at the system, most buyers who attend an open house, they don't buy that specific property, right? There's only one property they can buy, but many of them do buy later. Like they're looking at open houses, they are in that season of wanting to buy. And the fact that they're there means they're probably a warm lead. Um, and that really means that the real value of an open house isn't just selling the home, but it's meeting the future buyers and having a way to follow up with them. And that's kind of what we want to address and help with today. So one important um, or I guess what a better system would do would definitely capture the online. We talked about open house has been done forever the same way, except there's now the internet, and more people are looking on the internet. And a lot of times, the first thing they do when they want to buy a house is they start window shopping on Zillow or on Redfin. And so, being able to be present online is definitely a helpful, useful thing. And the nice thing about this system is it helps with the online part, but it also can be used for the physical in-person part of like printing out a flyer and capturing the lead and being able to reuse this flyer over and over and over. And so what I'm about to show you guys is Open House Genie, and at a high level, it creates a professional open house landing page like for online use from property address. And then that same page can be shared online, but also it captures buyer information, their contact information, and it can be turned into a printable flyer with a QR code. So it's kind of a two for one handling both of those. And because it's using AI, it makes it way quicker to put together. And I know I'm kind of going through this quick, but as before I really the next thing is me demonstrating and kind of showing how it works. Does anyone have any questions at this point? I know you're on mute and I'm looking at the chat, so if you want to look at the chat, I'll give you a minute before 30 seconds before I actually go into the presentation demonstration of how Open House Genie works. I'll just grab a drink real quick. Alrighty. With the silence, I'm going to assume that I'm doing a decent job of presenting this and we can move forward. So let me get to the demo, and I pre-recorded a video because I want to make sure I had it right. Thanks, Benjamin. And this will be included because whenever people reach out to me and say how to use the tool, here's a great video breaking down how to use the tool that I put together. And honestly, the developer of the software put together this video, and then I added some things I thought were missing. So I'm gonna play this, and hopefully the volume comes through okay, in worst case scenario, I can send you an individual link to this Loom video so you can watch it later. So let me make sure. I'm gonna start playing it, and if you don't hear the volume, let me know.
Let's talk about the Open House Genie. So if I click on this, it's going to bring me here to the Open House Genie. So on this page, I can see all of my prior flyers that I've generated. I can see my partners, and I can go back to my marketplace. So from there, let's say I want to go back and see my prior flyers that I've already generated. You can click on Prior Flyers. And here are all of the flyers that I've generated as long as I've had this product. And you can click on these to re-edit them. You can also go down here and see the agent that you branded it with, and you can view any leads that were generated as well by clicking View Leads. This will show you a nice table of all of the leads generated by that open house flyer, and you can export them to a CSV as well. Now, let's say I want to generate an open house flyer. I just go right here and start entering the address. So if I go 8012 Ryerdale, boom, right here. So it'll auto-complete for you. Click on the auto-completed address and search for the property. This is going to go out. It's going to get all of the information possible on that property from all public data, and it's going to create an entire landing page for you. So it's going to bring in your photos. So here's all of the photos of the property. Now, maybe I don't want this one. I can delete that photo right there. Maybe I want this to be the header photo, the very first one. I just drag it over, and now it's the first one. So it rearranges these for you. You can drag them on top of the other one. You can move them around, and it's going to move them down here at the bottom. You can also add images by clicking right here and then selecting the images from your computer, and it will put those in there as well. If you scroll down, it's going to show you when the property was listed, the bed and bath count, the square footage, when it was built, how many floors, the HOA, all the home facts, and everything here, as you see as I hover over it, all of it's editable. So if you want to go in here and say it does have an HOA, you can just double click on this. If you want to edit the bed and bath count, you just double click, type in what you want, and then you can edit it. Every single thing on the entire page is editable. So now if I continue to go down, it's going to show me the neighborhood lifestyle. Here's all of the things you can do. Here's the, Whitewater Center is nearby this for kayaking. Maybe you want to go to Mertz Heart and Soul for food, the NASCAR Hall of Fame. It's going to tell you everything in the neighborhood that makes it special. It's going to pull the tax information. Here's the assessed value, the market value, the annual taxes, and again, all editable. This is one of my favorite parts. It's going to show you the comparables in the area, but not in the normal way. So here's the property itself, and you can see by your property. And then I can click on these and I can see, now this one's off market. It's currently being listed for $1,825 on a rent. This one is for sale at $362,000. This one's for recently sold for $310 at $225 a square foot, bed and bath count, lot size, living area, etc., etc. Now, not only can I see all of the properties and things, I can also drag this little fellow right here down, and I can look at the property and walk down the street. So I can see here, here's home number 2, here's home number 3. This is number 3 that we were just looking at right here. Then I can go back up here and walk through the neighborhood directly on the results page. You can also go down and see how many properties in there are recently sold, for sale, the average price, average square footage. You can see the status. This one's for rent for $1,825. This one's off market. This one's off market, but it sold for $291. All of this information. This one recently sold for $310. This one recently sold for $340. You can see here that it's branded directly to you, and it's branded directly to your realtor. So if I click right here, all of my realtor partners show up, and I can click on one of them and select that partner, and now it brands to them. I can also go down here and see my mortgage payment example. So I can change my down payment. I can change the rate. That's going to automatically calculate my loan amount. So if maybe instead of 5% down, I want to do a 5.5% down. Now my loan amount's going to update. My down payment's going to update. My rate right here will also change my payments. So all of this is editable. My P&I is right here. My PMI is right here. And you can just click right here to edit the PMI factor. Maybe I want to put a 0.85 PMI factor. Now everything is going to recalculate. There's all this. I can also have my taxes. I can have my insurance, and I can have my total monthly payment. I can delete these if I want to, and you don't even have to show this. You can completely hide it by clicking right there, or you can decide to show it. And then any notes from the agent can go down here at the bottom. Now, once I'm satisfied with the way that this is set up, I have a few different options. I can save the flyer. I can update the flyer. I can save it as a new flyer. I can share a link, which when people go to it, it's going to bring them to a page like this. Now it's not editable, so it gives you this beautiful landing page where nothing's editable, but now you can share this out with folks. and they have access to all of these tools that otherwise you would not have. So this is kind of like your landing page that you would share on social media. And then it brands it to you and the agent. And you can see your disclaimers here, the agent's disclaimer and your disclaimer. Again, go down here again. You've got all this. Now, the chat does not show. It only shows because I'm logged in right now, but the chat would not show on the public version of this. Now, if I click right here and I have questions, people can actually contact you by filling this out. So think of this as like your lead funnel. And these are the leads that I showed you earlier on those prior flyer sections. And that's going to go to you and the real estate agent. So you both get that lead. So this is kind of like your public share. On top of that, you've got a QR code right here. So if I click here, it's going to give me the link, but it's also going to give me a QR code. And if I scan this, it takes me to that public page that we just looked at. You can also click right here to send it to the agent, and that's going to send them a beautiful email. Hey, here's my open house. Here's the link. Here's all the info. And by the way, here's a PDF flyer. So if you click on PDF flyer, it's going to have the two different options. You have elegant and you have classic. You can see here it brings in the photos beautifully, brings in your neighborhood and lifestyle, your monthly payment breakdown, and all of that information as well. If there are schools in the area, let me show you one that has schools on it. It'll also bring in that information. So obviously this one's kind of out in the woods. There are no public schools there. But for this one, you can see here like the nearby schools all come in. So you're going to see the rating, the students, the location, the level, the type of school that it is. And then when you generate those, it adds that into the flyer as well. So it makes this beautiful flyer here with all of the information. And you can just download that flyer by clicking on the option that you.
Last thing I wanted to go over was these. I added some extra to it because he did change the QR code, so I'll throw this real options up
in
here.
there. Basically, you can save the flyer through these two. And then if you wanted to share this flyer on social media, you can copy the link and then make a post or send it as a mass email. This QR code, there's two options.
And this is the new thing that I noticed. I wanted to update the training.
And he didn't really cover it too well, so I'll go over it. This one's unique. This is a signed in page. So people will click on this and it'll say, like, hey, if you want information about the home, put in your contact information. So it won't give any of this property information until they've actually have completed this. And what it's asking for is the email, and I'll send them an email with this information. So this one's a little more little more like a gatekeeper. This one, on the other hand, it shows everything in it, and then the same as the only difference is it looks like this PDF flyer where nope, it doesn't look like the PDF flyer. Let me see if I can get a version of this for you. All right, I found it. So it looks like this, and then the only other thing is it's kind of on them to ask questions. And so I created a realtor portal. I'm not a licensed realtor, just wanted to be able to show you guys. And what they do is they, my name is Tess. Honestly, it doesn't matter, and I'll show you what happens. Like, let's say they're not working with an agent, it doesn't change anything. And then say, I not good at typing on the spot. And then let's look in here. One, you'll get an email and it'll say something like, hey, you've got a lead on this. But then also when you look at your flyers, you can see how many leads are on it. And right here, you can see it's test.test.com. And so I got an email of it in my personal email inbox. But then when you look in your flyers in here, you can see it as well.
Alrighty. Jerome, you can probably stop the recording.